What's up, everybody? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button to the Hoops Tonight YouTube channel, and then follow me on social media on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter so you guys don't miss any of our content over the course of this season. All right, let's talk some basketball. So we're going to start with Pelicans-Clippers. So the Pelicans just absolutely jumped the Clippers early on in this game. They actually won the first quarter 36-19 and pretty much stiff-armed them the rest of the way. There was a little bit of a comeback, like kind of a semi-comeback in the early fourth quarter, but the Pelicans immediately extended the lead again. They put Zion Williamson on Kawhi Leonard to kind of match his strength, which I thought was really smart from a matchup perspective. It also, to me, is like a defensive assignment where you can get some high production out of Zion because it's very singularly focused. They put Brandon Ingram on Paul George to match his length, and then that allowed them to put Herb Jones, I should say, on James Harden. And typically James Harden can catch some pretty good matchups in his specific role as the third best perimeter player on the team, but the Pelicans have the bodies to kind of go body for body with these guys, and they put Herb Jones on. I always call him Herb Jones. It's Herb Jones. They put Herb Jones on Harden, and he just killed him on both ends of the floor to start the game. Was locking him up at the point of attack, forcing turnovers, applying really good pressure on him in pick and roll to make those cross-court passes to like Terrence Mann difficult. I clipped a couple examples of this, but when you put when you're defending in pick and roll, ball pressure is so important because, especially on a team like the Pelicans that's going to bring Jonas Valanciunas so far out in the coverage, out to the perimeter, there's going to be openings on the weak side. And so if I can get that pass over the top on time and on target on a rope to the shooting pocket, my defense is compromised. And Terrence Mann's either going to have a wide open catch and shoot three, or he's going to be able to drive and kick out of it, and they're going to get great looks. But if I can pressure the basketball and I can force a looping pass or a deflected pass, it buys me a chance to rotate. And Herb Jones is just so good with that active hands, high hands, getting those deflections and bothering those over-the-top passes. He was also beating Harden on the other end of the floor just by running his lane in transition, getting out in front of him, cutting back door, just really, really active early in the game, dominated that matchup with James Harden, which went a long way to the early lead for the Pelicans. And then on the other end of the floor, just really high-level drive and kick basketball from the Pelicans. I cut a lot of examples of high-level closeout attacking from the Pels. And I want to give Zion Williamson a lot of credit for this one because they were using a combination of pick and rolls and Zion ISOs to basically pull the Clippers players down into help. And when they would pull them into help, quick on-point swing passes and then quick decisions attacking closeouts ended up generating the offense. CJ McCollum was particularly great early in the game attacking closeouts. Larry Nance Jr. even had one against Plumlee where he drove and kicked to Trey Murphy in the left corner for a three. They converted 26 spot-up opportunities in this game into 30 points. That's 1.15 points per possession, which is obviously amazing. They're at 1.1 for the season, which ranks 6th in the NBA. So it's typically something that they are great at. And again, Zion Williamson, just his ability when he's kind of bringing the ball down the floor with some verve and getting into those in and out dribbles, how it just kind of causes everybody to kind of coalesce around him. And there was a specific play where Zion brought the ball up the floor in semi-transition. He's right at the top of the key. And I think it was Paul George sinks all the way down to the nail because it's part of the, that's kind of what you have to do against a real downhill athlete. You have to build a wall, so to speak. And when you build a wall, you generate closeout opportunities. And that specific slot closeout is really important. You can imagine ball handler, on-ball defender, helper at the nail. So this guy here, not only does he know he has a closeout opportunity, he knows where the angle of the closeout's coming from. Paul George is going to be closing out to his left-hand side and trying to chase him off the line because he's a good shooter. So that is a read that you have to make as the spot-up player to quickly catch and rip to the right. And if you watch the play, and I clipped this one and put it in my thread this morning, Zion Williamson makes a swing pass. CJ's already loading up for the rip before the ball gets to him, and then he catches and racks to the right. Paul George has no chance to keep him in front because he's so far out of position, and CJ drives right into the lane. Zubac steps up, but he just stops and pops like a little floater in the lane. That's really high-level closeout attacking. Reading the help defender, knowing where your angle is, stopping short instead of over penetrating, getting an offensive foul, challenging a rim protector, something stupid like that. The high level finish, which is the high soft floater. But Zion was causing a lot of issues for the Clippers with them loading up on him. He had 10 assists in that game, and he kind of closed the deal because the Pelicans went up 36-19 after the first quarter, and they kind of stiff-armed the Clippers until the second half when they made a little bit of a run. They actually got it back down to 4, and then Zion had back-to-back and ones against Plumlee underneath the basket, and then Jose Alvarado hit a three in the right corner, and it was like bang, bang, bang. Next thing you know, they're up double digits again, and the game is over. So really, really impressive two-way game from Zion Williamson. The Pelicans have won 4 games in a row. They had dropped 3 in a row before that to the Thunder, the Bucks, and the Celtics, and they didn't really compete in those games either. And that's been kind of a theme this year. Like, they just kind of have been getting blown out by some of the better teams in the league. They're 3-6 before last night against the teams that were in my top 5 list of contenders. And last night was a big step in the right direction on that front. They went into LA and dominated the Clippers. Really good on both ends of the floor during this 4-game stretch. A 123 offensive rating, a 107 defensive rating, outscoring opponents by 16 points per 100 possessions. So really impressive stretch of basketball from the Pelicans. On the Clippers front, super sloppy. They were getting beat down the floor in transition multiple times earlier in the game. Kawhi Leonard got ripped in the backcourt for a pick 6. James Harden got ripped in the backcourt for a pick 6. This was all in the first quarter, too. And then on defense, they were overhelping and losing sight of man and ball. And like, here's the thing. This happens in the NBA. It just does. No team is immune to it. Like every team that comes out the gates and kicks everyone's butt, they always have a stretch where they really struggle. The 2022 Warriors, what did they start? 15-1, and they were 1 or 2 seed most of the season. But even before Steph got hurt, they had a stretch where they dropped a bunch of games in a row. It happens, like I remember the Lakers in 2020. They started 24-3, and then they literally right around Christmas lost 4 games in a row. So like it's just about guaranteed to happen because you play 82 games. There's an inevitable kind of ebb and flow with your effort and focus and energy and things along those lines. The key is not letting it happen very often. This is one of those things where it's a completely acceptable thing to happen, but you just want to avoid it happening in mass. You want to avoid it happening too frequently, right? Like that kind of thing can happen. I want to give the Pelicans credit too. Like they just came out from the opening tip, brought a ton of physicality at the point of attack, a ton of length and athleticism. They can really bother you on that front. And they had a really smart offensive game plan and got a big win.